freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. The only way they can inherit the freedom we have known is if we fight for it, protect it, defend it, and then hand it to them with the well-taught lessons of how they in their lifetime must do the same. And if you and I don't do this, then you and I may well spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it once was like in America when men were free.
Hey everybody, Cheryl Todd here from GunFreedomRadio, coming to you from fabulous Las Vegas at the 2025 SHOT Show. I am here with
the other guy, Dan.
And our amazing friend that we try to always connect with at SHOT Show, Erich Pratt of GOA. Eric, this is an exciting year for so many reasons, and GOA is on fire. I can't open my social media without seeing some new something going on. So tell us, what is the latest and greatest thing that's going on with GOA?
Well, we're causing a lot of trouble for the ATF.
Don't hate that.
We have a lot of opportunities this year with the new administration. We're very excited about legislation that's been introduced year after year, like the Constitutional Concealed Carry Reciprocity Act. And that typically has gone nowhere, but now we really think we have the votes. We're working with congressmen to put that onto must-pass legislation. And this is just great legislation because y'all are from Arizona.
Yes.
With that legislation, you will be able to carry nationally without a permit. With reciprocity, up until now, you always have to get a permit to be able to have it recognized in another state. That won't be the case under H.R. 38, and which is, by the way, is something GOA fought for hard, because you guys may remember back in the 90s, there was some reciprocity legislation that would get voted on. It never protected constitutional carry states. I mean, look, there was only one constitutional carry state in the 1990s. That was Vermont. But we were fighting for constitutional carry, and so we fought and fought and fought. We had backroom meetings. Finally, Senator Coburn said, "You know what? We're going to do reciprocity legislation that protects the constitutional carry states," and that legacy has continued on since then. So we're very grateful for that. That's probably the biggest thing. We think that now is the time for doing this. I think the other thing that we're really excited about, we want to end the ATF, and that's going to take some building to get to that. But momentum is really building for abolishing the registry, the gun registry. They have probably now over 1 billion gun records. When the FOIA, the Freedom of Information Act, was done a few years ago, they nearly had 1 billion. So by now it's probably over 1 billion records, and over 900 million of them were digitized already. And with their zero tolerance program, they're putting gun stores out of business and then harvesting those 4473 forms. It's terrible. Well, there's legislation to abolish that, and that's something that we're going to be just activating the grassroots to put the heat on Congress, say we want that done in the next year.
Eric, they say that there's no registration in the United States, but when you have a gun shop and you have electronic files, they come in, they take that file, and they leave with it. And tell me that's not registration.
That is registration. Yeah, that's the thing that's mind-boggling, because they will tell you with a straight face, oh, this isn't a registration system. And the reason they say that, it is a searchable database that they have, but they say that they have paid Adobe extra money to not be able to search by name or some key criteria.
Sure,
but
they do.
Yeah, so either let's call that for what it is. That's just a bunch of excrement.
And not only that, Eric, if you have a gun shop that does a large volume, then every once in a while you're going to get a trace. So if you have X amount of traces, then they force you, any used guns that come into your store, you have to send that file to them quarterly. And so tell me that's not registration.
Right.
Why else would they want that information?
So exactly, and even if they really are paying for the extra functionality to not be able to search, that can easily be taken away. So I mean, they've got all this data, and so anyway, that's going to be our big push this year. We're already activating the grassroots to get more co-sponsors to this legislation. Vice President Vance, this is one of his big things. He's like, hey, why do we need the ATF? So we have a very receptive audience at the White House.
I love it. And I just feel like, it is our ball to drop. We have so much opportunity. I feel like there's this huge cultural push that's happening across the nation in the direction of individual liberties and kind of reclaiming our values that our founders set into place. And with GOA out there, tip of the spear, I feel so optimistic that we're going to get some really good legislation. And the regulatory agency pullback that I am hearing, that Trump and Elon Musk through Doge and all of that, I feel like, we're in the sweet spot. We could possibly make this happen.
Right. And Eric, another question I get asked a lot, what are they going to do about the suppressors? Are we going to see a bill to take those off the registry?
Yes, there will be legislation for that, and that's obviously something Gun Owners of America is going to be pushing hard. That's probably a tougher lift. It shouldn't be. I mean, oh my goodness. I mean, Europe, where they're so far left, I mean, they're actually sane on this issue. It's like it's the gentlemanly thing. You buy a gun, you get a suppressor with it. Why should it be have to register it like a machine gun kind of thing, type of thing? It's a muffler. So that's something we're pushing. Honestly, that could be. It's tough to say out of all the things that we're looking at pushing, which ones have the best chance. I think the first two I mentioned have the greatest chance, but there's so much misinformation on it. I mean, just the fact that they're usually called silencers to begin. I mean, and that's how they're referred to in the law, and so that connotes something that's obviously inaccurate anyway. So we're fighting a lot of institutional misunderstanding on it. So I can't predict how we're going to come out on that in the next year, but we are building momentum for it regardless.
I love it. I know you guys have really leaned into doing some big events, and there's one coming to Phoenix on March 1st, 2025. I will be the co-MC. Eric's going to be there. A huge lineup of speakers. That's called the Arizona Freedom Festival. So that's a brand new vehicle for you guys. It is.
Yeah, we're excited to kind of have really gotten involved this year to help run this, and so the GOA team is really looking forward to being there.
Absolutely. And then in front of me here on the table, I don't know if you can see it, but this is the GOALS event. And I just love that acronym because it is the Gun Owners Advocacy and Leadership Summit. That is such a great idea that you are teaching. You're using this opportunity in Knoxville, Tennessee in 2025. Sometime in August. This is last year.
This is last year's date, so just this year it'll be August 9th and 10th.
Okay.
In Knoxville.
And to take it right to the public and
Yes.
teach the public. Like we always say, you are your own first responder. You are a citizen journalist. You are an advocate. You are a leader. And then giving people the tools to understand how to enact those things. Brilliant.
I think that one of the things that people loved about GOALS last year, here we are at SHOT Show, where the average gun owner, unfortunately, can't be in here. That wasn't the case at GOALS, where you had, influencers like yourself, you had the gun companies, and just just average gun owners, just being able to be there to meet everybody. It was just a fantastic environment.
It was incredible. I was so excited. The minute I heard you announce it, as the inaugural, I was like, how do I get involved? And so we are hooked.
I appreciate that.
We're going to be there every year doing this. We set up a booth and did this down on the floor with all the different vendors. And the energy was great. The feedback was great. You can't miss it. You've got to go. Tell folks how they can follow all the work that GOA is doing.
Well, go to gunowners.org. If you add a /subscribe, that'll get you on our email alerts. It's absolutely free. That's really the key. I mean, that's our bread and butter for putting heat on Congress. You know, even though we do a lot of work in the courts, and so we need memberships because that keeps us on the front lines. I will tell you, it's our grassroots, putting the heat on Congress, keeping legislation from ever becoming law. That's the most efficient and effective way to defend our liberties, because it's much more costly once something does become law and we've got to go fight it in court.
Absolutely.
Eric, I can't even imagine what it'd be like if you guys weren't there to help us with this. We probably couldn't even own guns right now if it wasn't for the gun owners of America.
Well, I appreciate that, but I will just send that thanks right back, because I mean, we can't do it alone. I mean, it is our members and you guys helping us get the word out that really makes all the difference.
And I'm reminded, as Danny said that, there's a story that you tell that there was some legislation push and you had so many members and the public and grassroots reaching out that they were kind of like, make it stop? Or tell that story real quick.
Well, there's been many like that. So the one that comes to mind that you might be referring to was in 2013 when, after the very tragic Sandy Hook shooting, and there was such an outcry for gun control. Even other groups at the national level were saying, gee, it's not going to be, does gun control pass? It's going to be how much? And so other groups were looking to make compromises. And we said, we're not going to compromise. If we get rolled, we get rolled, but we are going to activate the grassroots to put the heat on. And people responded so well. And it was especially the Republican offices that they were surprised by how much they were getting hit by, stop compromising, we don't want any more restrictions. And they eventually backed out. The Republican leaders who were trying to make a deal said, you know what, no, we're done with this. And it was the grassroots that stopped it. And so, yeah, they were shocked. But that's because, if we're not there putting the heat on, you know who they're listening to? It's the media, and we know what the mainstream media, we know what direction they're going to put heat. So we've got to be there not only to counterbalance that, but to overcome that.
That's fantastic.
Look at California and how much compromising they've done.
Yeah.
It started out small. Then you can't have this, you can't have this, and now look at them. You can't even have a decent gun show in California anymore. They used to have the biggest shows in the country in California.
Absolutely.
And yet every year they still keep introducing more and more guns. It never ends. So if anybody thinks, we'll just support this and then we'll be... No, it will never end until we look like, Australia or some country
Canada.
where you can't... Canada, where you can't own guns.
Absolutely. Well, no compromise. That's the way to go. That's why we love GOA. One more time, the website.
Gunowners.org.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. We
Thanks,
appreciate
Cheryl.
everything that
Thanks,
you're
Dan.
doing. All right, stick around. We got a ton more coming at you from 2025 SHOT Show in fabulous Las Vegas.